Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Blanton, I'd like to begin by returning your attention to the temporary security measures that were implemented around the Capitol complex in association with the State of the Union. Now, you, the Sergeant at Arms of the House and of the Senate, convened to discuss and vote on the temporary security measures to be implemented, correct?
That is correct.
And one of the measures that you opted to discuss and vote upon was the construction of a perimeter fence around the Capitol complex. Is that right?
That is correct.
And you, in particular, voted in support of the addition of that fence to our complex for the State of the Union this week, correct?
That is correct.
All right. And isn't it also true, sir, that there was no specific threat information related to the accumulation of crowds or the need to control crowds around the State of the Union?
That is correct, and also on January 6th, there was no specific threat as well.
So, just to be clear, in the absence of any specific threat information about the need for such fencing and at a cost of over $1 million to taxpayers, you voted in support of construction of the perimeter fence for the State of the Union this week.
So the fence itself cost $872,000. It was reimbursed by the Secret Service to AOC, and based off of the security measures that the Capitol Police and the Secret Service said that they would need if the fence was not constructed, it actually worked out that in my calculations that the fence would be the cheaper solution.
And if I understood your earlier testimony correctly, you also pointed out that today the Capitol complex is more secure than it has been for prior State of the Union addresses. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. Let's turn our attention to the use of government vehicles. So you've testified for us here today that it was your assessment that appropriate use of your official government vehicle is not simply going to and from work, but that it should also appropriately include use for personal errands and other things so that in the event of an emergency, you can return expeditiously to the complex. Is that right?
With the exception, I would take the personal because it's part of my job to be ready and respond regardless of where I am and when something happens.
So you would not characterize it as personal use, but if you were using your official government vehicle to go to an event or occasion that was not related to your official business, your position is nonetheless that it's important that you be able to do so that you can get back here in the event of an emergency, correct?
Yes, and I will say, for example, one of the things they said in the IG report is that I went to...
Here's my question for you, sir. I would like to know, during your tenure as architect of the Capitol, how many times were you in your official vehicle at an occasion or an event that was not official business that you actually returned to campus in a state of emergency?
Well, I can tell you one of the things they alluded to in the IG report.
Number?
Well, I have to preface it with this.
Did it ever happen?
So yes, there is. But what I want to preface it with is, much like from my military career, you train for a state of readiness, and you hope you never have to do it, but you then, if you have to do it, you have to be ready to do it, and that's the purpose.
All right. So there was not an occasion during your tenure when it was actually necessary to leave and return on an emergency basis, but your testimony today is that you maintained that position for a state of readiness.
Yes.
All right. Now, going back to the use of others, of the official vehicle, if I understand your testimony today, it is that you are unsure, and tell me if I've got this wrong, but your testimony seemed to be that you were unsure if your wife or daughter might have ever driven an official vehicle without you in the vehicle.
That is correct. I'm saying, what I said is I can't tell you if they did or not, because it's something that I don't know specifically.
So just to be clear, you do not have personal knowledge of your wife or daughter ever using an official vehicle without you in the vehicle. Is that correct?
What I'm saying is I was telling you is I can't answer that question because I don't know is the answer.
So you do not know, which is where I started. You are not sure, you do not know if your wife or daughter ever drove an official vehicle without you inside the vehicle.
Yeah, I'll say if you have an instance that is in the full report that I don't know
No,
of.
I'm just asking you for your personal knowledge. Is there a time where you were aware that either your wife or any other person drove an official government vehicle assigned to you without you inside the vehicle?
I can't think of one right now.
Okay.
And again, I'm not denying that it may or may not happen. I'm just saying I can't think of it.
All right. Mr. Chairman, I believe my time has expired.